I was about to think that it was the last interview of today, but it is not. We have a couple more, but now I have one that I'm looking particularly forward to. Thomas List, Dr. Thomas List from BHS. You are the CFO of BHS, right?
Yes, this is right. Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so pleased about it because you just gave a presentation, and I think that one of the things that I think everybody is looking at today is what business models applies to become as profitable as possible, and that is exactly what you spoke about here, right?
Yeah, we have put a lot of time and effort into this model. This idea of equipment as a service is out there for quite some time. But to combine it with a business model that is really related to the output and there with the production of our customers and give them more visibility and transparency on cost of ownership and efficiency, I think this is really something we should and we want to explore with our customers. And we had some great discussions today, so there's a lot of interest out there, and I'm looking forward to the next developments.
I was thinking, let's break it down a little bit into what this is. Basically, when you say pay per output, basically means that you have a fixed payment per output, and that includes, literally everything, right?
This is correct. So if you look at your home, a lot of people have small printers in their home where they pay per printed page. And if the ink is gone, they send you a new one. So this is the small version of it. A corrugated is only a little bit larger.
You're exaggerating. I have seen it.
Yeah, and of course, if you are able to provide a package for that huge machine, and our customers are so driven into the perfection of their production and of their productivity and profitability, which is ultimately part of the vision that BHS has to improve the profitability of our customers. And if I'm particularly pleased that it doesn't happen so often that out of finance you can be part of product development, and this is really exciting. That we can give input into a product. This time it's not a machine, but how we use or how we sell or how we deal with this machine. And this is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to the next steps.
Of course, with all capital expenditures, there is some kind of financing because there's the parts, there's R&D, there's everything. So you have already made agreements with financing and insurance partner, which is of course a very important part because basically you need the cash for the machine in order to make sure that you can contribute to your continuing thing. Does that mean that when you have this relationship with your exclusive finance partner, does that mean that you have to guarantee some volume to them in order to finance it, or are they also in it for the variable cost?
Yeah, so what we spent, this was maybe what we spent the most time, is to find an exclusive and globally renowned financing and insurance partner. So we have found that, and of course we all intend to sell as much as possible with people. But of course our customers are politely invited if they want to just buy the corrugated. That's also fine. To answer your question, the financing partners, they are also very innovative. So they understand that it takes some time, that we need to explore, that we need to learn. And we have not guaranteed any volume. Of course, the expectation on both sides, also on ours, is that we will reach a certain volume.
With all businesses, you always consider the incentives, right? And as a financing partner, basically, it is interest rate that is your incentive. So I guess that you have an interest rate covered into the price, and then when you explore customers, you figure out what customers can actually deliver a certain volume in order to make it valuable for both of you, right?
Yeah, there are dozens of variables in this model. And this is not only financing, because we are also taking into account the risk of the variability. Yeah? So there are a couple of components for the finance partners. Is also interesting because for them their business is not so easy these days. So they also always look for new ways, new asset classes, new things they can explore, and they have own departments for that, so this is not the classic bank business, and so we are working together very well.
One thing that is, of course, particularly interesting because it is, I wouldn't say it's like a operational leasing, but it is a part of a kind of operational leasing setup. So basically, one of the advantages that the finance partner has is the high repetition of BSH both as a company, but also the residual value of the equipment is quite interesting, even when it has been on the market for 5-10 years, right? Does that play a role also in how much they charge for the service they offer?
Of course, they also have dozens of variables, and our corrugators are very good machines, and you can run them for a long time. So, of course, the reliability of our equipment has an influence on that.
You mentioned also in your presentation that, of course, it doesn't influence the converters or the printing company's balance sheet, because, of course, if it's owned by the finance partner, then it will not influence. That is in times where I wouldn't say that I think that your part of the industry, or the BHS part of the industry, is better off than some of the commercial side of the printing side. But it must be a fantastic asset to have the latest and the newest equipment without negatively influencing your balance sheet. Is that also a KPI when you go and sell this?
Yes, of course. So there are two aspects of it. A is if it's not on the balance sheet, then your equity ratio is higher. If you have a return on total capital is higher because total capital is lower, and the customers have also an advantage in cash flow because they pay for freight and installation, and everything else they pay in produced volume. And if they produce volume, then they have orders, and so they have this is what I call the safety cushion. If they have a month where they only have 80%, then they pay 80%.
The reason I find this interesting is because in the industry we have seen other companies trying to do, let's say, subscription models. What I liked about your thing is, from a customer perspective, is of course that you have so much trust both in the model and the value that you operate, that you take no limitations in lower or higher volume, because if you have a cost that is always fixed, then you basically end up with a very risky business if you have it down. But here it is totally variable from first sheet to the last sheet, right?
Yeah. For BHS the risk is not so high because we are selling the equipment to the finance partner in the first place, so our cash flow is secured. We do have, it depends, one variable of the pricing is a certain minimum payment amount. So
there is minimum payments.
So if the customer decides to have a low minimum payment, then of course the risk is higher, and this will be reflected in the price. Of course, and the other way around. But this is totally up to the individual conversation with the customer. So we don't have a default minimum payment.
But that is still good because even for existing customers, it can be an advantage because you may be on the edge of you don't have the real volume for the second machine or the third machine or whatever. Now you have a model where you basically can offload older equipment with existing, and then basically buy the next machine, and then it will still be very positive for you.
Yeah, I believe our customers understand also that this model will help them to grow. Because they can execute very aggressive growth plans. Why not buy 2 or 3 corrugators and go finance them over PPO? That's a different, because all of them have finance, capital, capex restrictions and stuff like this. And if you can put all into a variable box, let's say, this is, and if you are successful, and also the model enables you also to have a ramp-up phase, because in the first year you usually produce not that much. So we also believe that this will accelerate growth plans of our customers, also in times that are a little bit more difficult, like in the moment.
Do you have identified certain type of customers, or is this basically a product for all customers?
It is basically a product for all customers. Of course, if you have really customers that have really deep pockets, then they might not find that. Then some of the arguments I'm giving are not striking. I see that, and I'm happy if they buy a corrugator.
But on the other hand, the interest rate on equity rate is not very high right now, so maybe this is even cheaper for them, even if they have cash, right? Yeah,
this should be. I think this should be a conversation that we should be having with them. So to answer, we are not restricting that to any customer. Of course, we are we are looking for a repetitive business, but this is what we do always.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just one more offer in our whole tool set for BHS Corrugated, which we can give to the customer.
And I understand that. Do you think it will sell more machines eventually?
I think we will sell machines that we would not have sold if we would not have the model. Yes, I think that.
So it seems like a win-win situation for everybody, right?
That's what we hope.
Fantastic. Very much. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you.